There are objects in your home right now that feed your unrest, not because they're haunted, but because they hold energy. Energy that pulls you backward, energy that weakens your spirit, disturbs your sleep, clouds your focus, and slowly, without you realizing, dulls your discipline. You walk past them every day. A broken item from someone you no longer speak to. A decorative mask that once felt cool but now makes the room feel cold. Gifts you kept out of guilt. Things that carry stories but not peace. In Shaolin practice, the first rule of inner stillness is outer clarity. If your space is chaotic, your mind cannot settle. And it's not only about mess, it's about meaning. Objects can hold stagnation, pain, old emotions you thought you buried. These become like silent invitations for what we call inner demons, anxiety, irritation, heavy thoughts that rise for no clear reason. Today, I will show you which items disturb the energy of your home and how to remove them, not out of fear, but from awareness. I will share ancient insights that few outside the temple have heard, simple rituals, sharp truths, and one powerful rule that every Shaolin monk follows to protect their mind from intrusion. By the end of this video, you will see your room differently. You will understand why certain objects drain your spirit and how letting go isn't just cleansing your space, it's resetting your path. If you feel stuck, agitated, distracted, start here. Sometimes the first enemy to face is not out there, it's sitting quietly on your shelf. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe now and begin the inner clearing. Some things feel heavy before you even touch them. You walk into a room and something is off. You don't know why, but your shoulders tense, your breath shortens, the silence feels thick. This is not imagination. This is energy, what we call Qi, and everything holds it. Every object, every piece of clothing, every corner of your home carries traces of what's been felt around it. Joy, sorrow, fear, confusion, it stays. The energy doesn't disappear just because the event is over. It settles, it clings. A gift from someone who betrayed you. A cracked mirror you never replaced. A painting that always makes you feel uneasy, but you keep it because it was expensive. These items carry discordant Qi energy that's lost harmony. And when your environment holds confusion, your mind follows slowly, silently, you begin to feel off-center, you lose clarity, you act from reaction instead of peace. Shaolin practice teaches us this. When the outer is imbalanced, the inner is stirred. Unbalanced energy in your surroundings is not passive, it mirrors something in you. This is why recognizing these objects is not superstition, it's self-study. It's asking, why do I keep this? What part of me is still holding on? Sometimes we cling to the past by preserving its remains. That's when a shelf becomes a shrine to old wounds. That's when your room starts to whisper doubts into your sleep. This is why monks are taught to keep few things and only what uplifts or supports clarity. Not because things are evil, but because energy is real. And your home is not just a place you live in. It's an extension of your field. What surrounds you shapes you. What you allow to stay stays in you. Not all darkness enters through doors. Sometimes it sits quietly on your shelf. A statue with sharp edges, a mask with a frozen scream, a painting soaked in sorrow. These items may look interesting, unique, but in the stillness of night, they hum with something heavier. Not because they are cursed, but because symbols speak, and the language they speak reaches your subconscious long before you realize it. In ancient teachings, symbols were treated with reverence. A single mark on a scroll could represent heaven, discipline, or death. The wise knew what you surround yourself with enters you, repeatedly, quietly, until it shapes your thoughts without asking for permission. You may not notice it at first, a feeling of unease when you pass a certain corner, restlessness in a room you can't seem to relax in. This is how subtle energy works, small drops over time, feeding quiet tension, invisible roots of anxiety that seem to come from nowhere. Mastery is not only about great battles or powerful movements. It begins with what you allow into your space and why. Discipline means being honest about the energy you live with, even when it's just a decorative piece. Especially then, if an object stirs discomfort, it does not matter how rare it is or how long you've owned it. The deeper part asks you to choose peace over possession, to release without fear or sentiment what no longer aligns. Because when you let go of symbols that speak of fear, your spirit begins to breathe. The silence becomes softer, the shadows retreat, and your space becomes not just a home, but a training ground for clarity, presence, and inner strength. Some items carry a weight no scale can measure. A journal from a year you'd rather forget. A gift from someone who's no longer in your life. A certificate from a course you never finished. These things seem harmless, tucked in drawers, stacked in corners, but their presence speaks, not in words, but in memory, in feeling, in the quiet pull of the past. Shaolin discipline begins with awareness, not just of breath and body, but of what surrounds you. Every object carries an echo, and when it's tied to regret, the echo becomes a loop. Each time you see it, even unconsciously, it says, you failed, you lost, you missed your chance, and part of you stays there replaying, resisting, repeating. Mindfulness does not ask you to ignore your past. It asks you to finish it. Completion isn't about changing what happened. It's about changing your relationship to it. Sometimes that means revisiting with courage. Other times it means letting go without ceremony. To cling to objects from broken parts is to freeze yourself in stories you've outgrown. This is how emotional dust gathers, and when enough of it builds up, even progress feels heavy. The path of mastery is not just about what you gain, it's about what you're willing to release. An old photo, a letter, a box under your bed. If it holds regret, ask yourself, is this helping me rise or holding me still? There is strength in release, there is clarity in closure, and sometimes peace comes not from fixing the past, but from no longer needing to carry it. Completion creates space, space becomes presence, and presence is where true power lives. The room can be silent, yet your mind keeps spinning. Not because someone is speaking, but because the screen is still glowing, notifications stacked, tabs open, conversations halfway finished, algorithms feeding you thoughts you didn't ask for. This is the new clutter, shiny, digital, endless. In ancient times, disturbance came from obvious sources. A loud voice, a sharp object, an argument still echoing through the walls. Now the noise is quiet, but constant. You scroll, swipe, refresh, each motion scattering your chi, breaking the rhythm of your breath, pulling you out of presence. Shaolin tradition teaches stillness not as inactivity, but as power held in quiet form. When your attention is fractured, your energy leaks. You may not feel it at first, but over time fatigue grows, focus fades, sleep becomes restless, the body tenses without knowing why. The screen doesn't just take your time, it takes your center. Mindful separation is a discipline, a sacred pause, not to reject technology, but to reclaim your space from it, to say, now I return to myself. Leave the device in another room, light incense, breathe. Even 10 minutes without a screen can shift your field. You'll begin to notice the subtle energy return, slow, grounded, steady. Your breath deepens, your thoughts slow, you hear your own voice again. This is not retreat, it is reset. A warrior sharpens their blade in silence. You sharpen your presence by stepping away from the noise. What fills your eyes fills your spirit. Choose it with care, because peace is not something you stumble into, it's something you make room for, by what you welcome and what you gently set down. Clothing remembers what the mind tries to forget. A bracelet you wore during an argument, a shirt from a day you were drowning in doubt, a necklace you clutched when jealousy burned through your chest. These items feel familiar but not always safe. They've touched your skin during moments of intensity, and whether you noticed or not, they held on. In Shaolin understanding, objects absorb chi, especially those close to the body. Fabric is porous, not just to sweat and scent, but to emotion. Anger has a heat, sorrow has a weight. These qualities don't vanish when the moment passes. They settle into what you wear. They cling. And then one day, you put on the same item again, and something shifts. You feel tense, heavy, reactive for no obvious reason. It's not the color, it's not the fit, it's the memory, trapped in the threads. This is why spiritual traditions across cultures emphasize ritual cleansing, not just for spaces, but for garments, tools, jewelry, to clear what lingers, to restore purity to what's been imprinted. You can do this with water and intention. A simple washing under moonlight, a few drops of salt, a silent breath. You can also choose to let go completely, to pass it on, or to burn it, if the weight is too strong. Mastery asks for awareness in the smallest things, not out of fear, but out of respect for the field you carry. When you cleanse what touches your body, you clear the echo of old reactions. You return to neutrality. And in that stillness, your presence sharpens, your spirit lightens, the past releases its grip, and the path ahead feels a little more open, a little more yours. Some things are passed down with more than hands. An old watch from a father who never spoke his truth, a ring from a grandmother who lived in quiet sorrow, a painting